Staff Sergeant Natalie Carter crouched at the jungle's edge, peering through her binoculars at a sight that made her blood run cold. Four armed cartel members were hauling her best friend, Sergeant Emma Hayes, across the clearing. Emma's hands were bound tight behind her back, blood streaming down her face from a nasty head wound. They disappeared into a heavy fortified building just 300 meters ahead. Everything had fallen apart. Their drug operation mission had turned into a disaster. An ambush had scattered their whole patrol, leaving Emma stranded. Command's orders came through crystal clear: stay put and wait. Intelligence promised a rescue squad would arrive in 2 days. But Emma wouldn't last 2 days. The cartel's brutal reputation was well known. They killed captured soldiers within a single day and shared the gruesome videos online. Natalie faced an impossible choice. She could follow orders and watch her friend die, or she could act. She grabbed her rifle, stuffed 6 spare magazines into her vest, and strapped on her heavy armor, despite the brutal jungle heat. What she was about to do broke every rule in the book. Every training manual called it a death wish. She was heading in alone, middle of the day, no team, no reinforcements. Just her weapon, and 12 years of friendship that mattered more than any regulation. Leave a comment and subscribe, because the next 6 hours would become a secret legend about how far one soldier will go when her closest friend's life hangs in the balance. The Colombian jungle was like stepping into a nightmare. The air was so thick with moisture you could practically chew it. Every breath felt like work. Every step drained your energy. Even in the shade of the towering trees, the temperature climbed past 95 degrees. Thin beams of sunlight cut through the leaves, lighting up swarms of bugs. Within minutes, sweat drenched Natalie's uniform, burning her eyes and making everything slippery. Mosquitoes attacked in clouds, spreading diseases that could knock you flat. The ground was a maze of twisted roots and rotting plants that tried to trip you with every step, hiding poisonous snakes in the mess. Overhead, monkeys howled warnings. Strange birds called out. The endless buzz of insects created a wall of noise that either hid threats approaching or covered your movements, depending on how smart you were about using it. Natalie had been awake for 30 straight hours. The rush of energy that got her through the ambush and escape was fading, but stopping wasn't an option. Not while Emma was still breathing in that compound. At 31 years old, Natalie had built her entire career in the army. She'd served 12 years in infantry before women were even officially allowed in combat. She'd been among the first to kick that door wide open, through pure skill and refusing to give up. Average height, strong and fit from hauling 70 pounds of gear on daily patrols. Her dark blonde hair was pulled back tight, under her helmet, soaked with sweat. Her blue-gray eyes tracked every movement with the precision that comes from always assuming someone wants you dead. Her rifle felt natural in her hands after 12 years. She'd practiced with this exact weapon hundreds of times, knew exactly how it performed at any distance, trusted it completely. 6 magazines sat in her chest rig, plus one already loaded, 210 rounds total. Her pistol, a Beretta, held 2 backup magazines. She carried 3 explosive grenades, 1 smoke grenade, 2 flashbangs, a combat knife, medical supplies, and water. No radio, though. She'd left that behind on purpose. If command couldn't reach her, they couldn't order her to stop. The compound holding Emma looked like typical drug trafficking construction. Tall concrete walls painted in mottled greens to disappear into the jungle. Heavy metal gate, guard towers at 2 corners, flat roof with sandbag defenses. The cartel had built it as their regional headquarters, a fortress to fight off rivals or government raids. She'd been observing from a hidden spot 500 meters out for an hour, counting people, noting patterns, building a map in her mind while fighting off mosquitoes. 14 cartel soldiers in sight, 4 up in the guard towers, 2 guarding the main gate, 8 moving around the compound, all carrying serious weapons, well-maintained rifles. These weren't street thugs. These were trained enforcers, cartel soldiers with military backgrounds, possibly former Colombian special forces, who'd switched sides for bigger paychecks. They moved with tactical skill, kept proper weapon control, covered their areas correctly. The situation looked terrible from every angle. One soldier facing 14 trained fighters in broad daylight on their home turf, with 0 support. Every manual said this was suicide. Standard procedure was clear. Regroup with your team. Work with command. Plan a proper rescue with enough force. Gather intelligence. Call in air support. Use a full squad. But Emma didn't have time for procedure. Natalie had first met Emma Hayes 8 years back during their Afghanistan deployment. Emma came from Texas, loud and friendly, while Natalie was quiet and kept to herself. They seemed like odd friends. Emma befriended everyone she met. Natalie preferred being alone, but they'd connected over shared experiences. Late-night guard shifts, where they'd talk about family and future dreams. Long patrols where the only entertainment was conversation. The special kind of friendship that grows when you trust someone completely to keep you alive. 3 years ago, Emma had pulled Natalie from a burning vehicle after a bomb hit, dragged her clear with metal fragments in her own legs, carried her 50 meters to safety under enemy fire, refused to abandon her even when ammunition started exploding in the flame. Natalie had carried Emma 2 kilometers to the rescue helicopter, after Emma took rifle rounds during a Taliban attack, carried her on her shoulders despite exhaustion, turned down help from others because she wouldn't trust Emma's life to anyone else. They'd spent countless hours discussing plans for after-military life. Emma wanted to teach disadvantaged children. Natalie dreamed of opening a coffee shop, normal dreams that felt impossible in a place where people tried to kill you. Now Emma was trapped in that compound, probably being questioned, possibly tortured, definitely running out of time. Natalie made her final choice. She was going in. The approach would be the most dangerous part. 500 meters of jungle separated her position from the compound. That section offered cover, but the cartel had cleared a 50-meter ring around the perimeter, creating an open killing zone where anyone approaching would be completely exposed to fire from the towers and walls. Those 50 meters would be absolutely deadly in daylight, unless she gave them something else to worry about. Natalie studied the compound's north side. The cleared area was the same on 3 sides, but on the north, a stream cut through, probably left for water access. The stream had steep banks and thick plants. It ran to within 30 meters of the north wall before turning east. If she used that route, the banks would hide her from the guard towers, but she needed a distraction, something to pull their attention away, make them focus on a different threat. 200 meters west of the compound, the jungle rose into a small hill, good height, clear view of the compound's western wall and main gate. If she set something up there first, created a threat from that direction, the guards would turn their defenses toward the fake attack. Basic military tactics: lock enemy attention in one direction, strike from another. Natalie moved west through the jungle, using every bit of cover available, staying low where the undergrowth was thick, moving with practiced silence. The jungle was both enemy and friend. It hid her but made quiet movement nearly impossible. Every step required thought: where to put her feet to avoid snapping branches, how to move through vines without shaking them, when to freeze because something had noticed her and might give her away. 20 minutes brought her to the hill. She found a spot with good cover behind a fallen tree, clear view of the compound, well hidden by jungle behind her. She pulled out her smoke and explosive grenades, placed them carefully, then built a simple timer using cord, a stick and the grenade pins. Rough but effective. When the cord burned through, it would pull the pins, grenades would explode. Guards would think someone was attacking from the west. She figured 10 minutes once the distraction went off. 10 minutes to reach the north stream. Use the chaos to cross the killing zone. Break through the north wall. Find Emma. Get out before the cartel realized what really happened. Natalie lit the fuse cord she'd unraveled and soaked with gun oil. Slow burning and reliable. Then she moved fast back into the jungle, circling east, then north toward the stream approach. 8 minutes now. 7, 6. She reached the stream with 4 minutes left, dropped into water up to her waist. Current stronger than she expected, began moving downstream toward the compound. The stream banks rose 3 feet on each side, giving perfect concealment from anyone not directly above. Water was brown with dirt, probably contaminated, but it kept her cool and masked her movement. 3 minutes. 2. Natalie reached where the stream came closest to the compound. 30 meters of open ground between the stream bank and the north wall. She could see the guard towers, see the guards scanning their zones with professional discipline. Any movement across open ground and she'd be spotted instantly. 1 minute. She took position behind the stream bank, rifle up and ready, watching the compound, waiting. The grenades exploded right on schedule. First the smoke, billowing white clouds, visible from the compound. Then, 5 seconds later, the explosive grenade, sharp crack rolling across the jungle. Response was instant. Guards in towers shouted, swinging weapons toward the west. Gate guards rushed toward the western wall. Inside, she heard yelling, boots running, orders in Spanish. Natalie moved. She burst from the stream bank and ran across open ground. No more worrying about stealth, only speed. 30 meters had never felt longer. Every step she expected gunfire, expected the shout that meant she'd been seen. 20 meters, 15, 10. She hit the north wall hard, pressing against concrete, breathing hard. No shouts, no gunfire. The distraction had worked perfectly. The north wall had a drainage pipe at the base designed to channel water during rainy season. Narrow, maybe 2 feet high, but enough. Natalie dropped flat and crawled through, pushing her rifle ahead, ignoring the water and mud that soaked her uniform. She emerged inside the compound in a narrow gap between the wall and a storage building. Bags of what was probably cocaine stacked to the ceiling, covered with tarps. The compound was bigger than it looked from outside. Central courtyard. Main building on the south side. 2 stories with a flat roof and sandbag positions. Smaller buildings around the edges. Storage, barracks, possibly a workshop. The 2 gate guards were 50 meters away, facing west toward the distraction. Rifles raised. Natalie moved along the wall, using the storage building for cover, until she reached the corner where she could see the main building entrance. 3 cartel soldiers stood there, alert and armed, responding to the distraction, but keeping security. 16 total enemies. 14 she'd counted, plus 2 she hadn't spotted, all facing west, and Emma somewhere in that main building. Natalie had choices. Stealth meant sneaking in quietly, finding Emma, getting out without fighting. Smart tactically but time-consuming. But stealth took time. Any second someone would check the western distraction, find nothing but smoke and a crater, realize it was a trick. Then the entire compound would go on high alert, and her window would slam shut. She needed to move fast and hard. Hit so violently and quickly, they couldn't organize a response before she'd completed her mission. Natalie pulled an explosive grenade, calculated the throw distance to the main building entrance, estimated the blast area. 3 guards grouped together. Tactically poor, but it worked in her favor. 1 grenade would take all 3. She pulled the pin, held the lever for a 2 count to reduce time between throw and explosion, then threw hard and accurate. The grenade bounced once, rolled to a guard's feet. One saw it, opened his mouth to yell. The explosion shattered the quiet, sending all 3 flying backward, sharp crack echoing off the walls. Natalie moved immediately, running from cover toward the main building, using the shock and confusion to cover her approach, knowing every second counted now that she'd announced her presence. The 2 gate guards were turning, swinging weapons around, trying to understand what happened behind them. Natalie fired while moving, controlled double shots from her rifle. Both guards dropped. 5 down, 11 to go. She reached the main building entrance, stepping over bodies, killed by the grenade, flowed through the doorway with her rifle, up and ready. Inside was cooler, concrete walls keeping out the worst of the heat, but still stifling. Central hallway running the building's length, doors on both sides, stairs at the far end, movement to the right, a guard rushing from a room. Rifle coming up. Natalie fired first. 3 rounds, center mass. He dropped hard. 6 down, 10 to go. Emma, Natalie shouted, moving down the hallway, checking corners. Emma Hayes, it's Natalie. Where are you? No response. Either Emma couldn't hear, couldn't respond, or Natalie pushed that thought away. Emma was alive, had to be. More movement from the stairs. 2 guards rushing down. Weapons. The stairwell was a death trap. Narrow space, where they had to come single file. Natalie waited, rifle aimed at the stairbase, breathing controlled despite the rush. First guard appeared and she fired. Controlled burst center mass. He fell forward, tumbling down the remaining stairs. Second guard, more careful, leaned around the corner and fired blind. Full automatic spray. Rounds punching walls around Natalie but missing by feet. She returned fire, walking shots, up the wall toward where he was hidden, forcing him back. Then she pulled her second explosive grenade, calculated the arc, threw it up the stairwell. Explosion in the confined space was deafening. When the smoke cleared, the second guard was down. 8 down, 8 to go. Natalie moved upstairs fast, knowing time was running out, that the remaining guards would be organizing a response, possibly calling reinforcements. Second floor laid out, similarly, central hallway, rooms on both sides, door at the end for roof access. Emma, she shouted again. Emma, if you can hear me, make noise. This time she heard it. A thump, rhythmic, like someone kicking a wall, coming from a room at the hall's end, farthest from the stairs. Natalie moved toward the sound, checking corners, expecting an ambush. The door to the room was heavy wood reinforced with steel, locked from outside with a heavy padlock. Through the door, she heard movement, muffled sounds like someone trying to yell through a gag. Emma, get away from the door! Natalie stepped back and fired 3 rounds into the padlock, rifle rounds shattering the lock mechanism. She kicked the door open and flowed in fast, rifle up and tracking. The room was small and stifling. No windows, concrete walls, single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. Emma was there, zip tied to a metal chair in the center, duct tape across her mouth, face bruised and bloody from repeated blows, left eye swollen nearly shut, blood crusted on her forehead. But her eyes tracked to Natalie, with instant recognition and hope. But Emma wasn't alone. 2 cartel guards stood in the corners, one behind Emma, with a pistol pressed to her head, the other to the side with a rifle pointed at the doorway. For a frozen moment, nobody moved. A standoff. Natalie with her rifle trained on the rifle guard, that guard aiming at her. The other guard with his pistol pressed against Emma's temple. The rifle guard spoke in Spanish accented English. You put down gun or we kill your friend. Slowly. You watch. Natalie's mind raced through options at lightning speed. If she shot the rifle guard first, the pistol guard would execute Emma before she could switch targets. If she shot the pistol guard first, the rifle guard would kill her. If she tried both at once, impossible. This was a no-win scenario, where tactical training broke down, and you made impossible choices, unless you changed the game. Okay, Natalie said, keeping her voice calm. Rifle pointed at the rifle guard, but not firing. Let's talk. You want to trade, right? Me for her. The pistol guard said something rapid in Spanish to his companion. The rifle guard responded, looked back at Natalie. You put gun down, put on ground, kick to me. Then maybe we let your friend live. Maybe. Maybe isn't good enough, Natalie said. I need guarantee. You're not in position to negotiate. Neither are you. You kill her. I kill both of you, before you escape. You let her go. I won't hunt you down. That's the deal. The guards exchanged looks, uncertainty creeping in. They'd expected a tactical assault team, a coordinated operation with overwhelming force. Not one soldier sneaking in alone, now negotiating like she held the cards. Which gave Natalie the opening she needed. She'd been watching the pistol guard's trigger finger, watching for the telltale tension, meaning he was about to fire, watching his eyes. Watching for the shift in focus, meaning his attention was splitting. When that split second came, when his eyes shifted to his companion, when the pistol pressure on Emma's temple reduced by a fraction, when his trigger finger relaxed slightly, Natalie moved. She twisted left, dropping below the rifle guard's line of fire, while bringing her rifle around in a smooth arc toward the pistol guard. The movement was so fast, so unexpected, so perfectly executed from thousands of training hours, it looked like magic. Her first shot took the pistol guard in the head. No time for body shots, no margin for error. Precise round that ended the threat to Emma. Instantly. The rifle guard fired, but Natalie was already moving. Rounds missing by inches. She completed the motion, coming up into shooting stance. Rifle tracking back to the rifle guard, trying to correct his aim. She fired twice. Center mass. The rifle guard dropped. 10 down, 6 to go. The entire fight lasted maybe 3 seconds. Emma stared at Natalie with wide eyes. The dead guard who'd held the pistol to her head now collapsed behind her. Natalie moved to Emma fast, pulling her knife and cutting the zip ties binding her to the chair. Emma's wrists were raw and bleeding where the plastic had cut in. She pulled the duct tape from Emma's mouth as gently as possible. Oh my God, Emma said. Voice hoarse. Oh my God, Natalie, you came. You actually came. They said nobody would come. They said Americans would leave me. I've got you. Natalie helped Emma to her feet, noting how Emma favored her left leg, probably injured during the ambush or captivity. Can you walk? I think so. They mostly hit my face, legs just bruised, nothing broken. Emma tested her weight, wobbled, but stayed upright. Natalie, there are at least 16. There were 16. There are 6 now. Can you handle a rifle? Emma looked at the rifle on the floor next to the dead guard, nodded with determination cutting through the pain. Yeah, I can shoot. Good, take it. We're leaving. Natalie handed Emma a spare grenade. You remember urban combat training, every day since basics. Then you remember room clearing, covering movement, suppressing fire. Are we fighting our way out? We're fighting our way out. They moved to the doorway, Natalie leading with her rifle up, Emma right behind with the captured rifle, both falling into rhythm from years of training together. They'd done this hundreds of times, moved as a two-person team, covered each other's areas, communicated through hand signals, and awareness from knowing how your partner moved. The hallway was clear, but Natalie heard voices downstairs. The remaining 6 guards regrouping, organizing a response, probably fortifying the ground floor to trap them upstairs. They're going to bottle us up, Emma said, thinking tactically despite her injuries. We need another exit, roof access. We go up instead of down. They moved to the roof access door at the hall's end. Metal door with a simple lock. Natalie shot the lock off, kicked the door open, revealing a narrow staircase leading up. The roof was flat concrete, with sandbag positions around the edge. The cartel had clearly planned to use it defensively. 2 guard towers at opposite corners, both empty now. But more importantly, the roof gave them height and clear views into the jungle beyond the walls. Options. What's the plan? Emma asked, moving to a sandbag position, checking her rifle to make sure it was ready. We hold here until they come. When they rush the roof, we hit them hard. Then we break for the north wall, through the drainage pipe, into the jungle. That's a terrible plan. You have a better one? Emma smiled despite the blood and bruises. Nope, terrible plan it is. They didn't wait long. Sound of boots on stairs, voices in Spanish coordinating an assault. The remaining 6 guards coming up together, smart enough not to come one at a time. Natalie pulled her last explosive grenade, pulled the pin, held the lever. When this goes off, we move immediately. You go left, I'll go right. We clear the roof, then run for the north wall. Don't stop, don't engage unless you have to. Just run. Emma nodded. On your mark. Natalie threw the grenade down the staircase. Counted 1, 2. Explosion shook the building, filling the stairwell with smoke and metal fragments and screams. Go, go, go. They moved as one, flowing through the roof access into smoke and chaos. Bodies on the stairs. At least 3 guards down from the grenade, but 3 more still in the fight, staggered by the blast but bringing weapons up. Natalie engaged the first, while moving. 3-round burst. Emma took the second, with her rifle. Unfamiliar weapon kicking, but staying on target through determination. The 3rd guard, furthest down the stairs, fired wildly. Panic shooting, his rounds going wide as both returned fire. 13 down, 3 to go. They hit the ground floor, moving fast. Emma limping but keeping pace through sheer willpower. The 3 remaining guards were somewhere, either inside the building or outside. Reorganizing, Natalie chose speed over caution. They burst out into the courtyard, into oppressive heat and bright sunlight. Running for the north wall, visible 50 meters away. Gunfire erupted from the right. The 3 remaining guards had taken position behind the storage building, created a hasty ambush. Rounds cracked past Natalie's head, hit the ground near her feet. Emma returned fire while moving, rifle on full automatic, suppressing the guards enough to make them take cover. Natalie threw her smoke grenade, last one, creating a white cloud that blocked the guards' view. They made it to the north wall, to the drainage pipe. Emma went first, dropping to crawl through despite her injury. Natalie followed, firing her rifle back toward the storage building. Controlled bursts, covering their escape, through the pipe, into the muck and water, emerging on the far side, into the jungle. Behind them, the compound was chaos, smoke, gunfire, shouting. But Natalie and Emma were in the jungle, were running. They covered 300 meters before Emma's leg finally gave out. Adrenaline wearing off, and the injury making itself known. She collapsed against a tree, breathing hard, face pale with pain. I need a minute, Emma gasped. Take 2, we're clear. Natalie pulled out a backup radio, one she'd hidden before going in. One command didn't know she had. Jaguar 6, this is Bravo 2-4. I have precious cargo. Requesting immediate extraction at rally point. Echo. Response was immediate and furious. Bravo 2-4, where the hell have you been? We've been trying to reach you for 7 hours. What do you mean you have precious cargo? I have Sergeant Hayes. She's alive, mobile, and we need extraction now. Long pause, then a different voice. Older, more authoritative. Battalion Commander, Bravo 2-4. This is Jaguar 6 actual. Confirm you have Sergeant Hayes. Confirmed. Multiple bruises, possible concussion, leg injury, but walking and stable. Another pause. Natalie could imagine the chaos in the Tactical Operations Center, trying to figure out how one soldier infiltrated a cartel compound and extracted a hostage alive. Bravo 2-4. How did you retrieve Sergeant Hayes? Natalie looked at Emma, who was listening with a slight smile, despite her injuries. I went and got her, sir. She's my friend. Stand by for extraction. Arrival time 30 minutes. And Sergeant Carter, we are going to have a very long conversation when you get back. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. The helicopter arrived 28 minutes later, a Black Hawk threading through the jungle canopy. Door gunners, scanning for threats. Full squad of infantry, providing security. Extraction was fast and professional. Emma loaded first, with a medic immediately starting treatment. Natalie climbing aboard last, taking a final look at the jungle that almost killed them both. They'd done it, against all tactical sense, against order, against everything she'd been taught about proper planning. She'd infiltrated a cartel compound alone in daylight, and brought Emma home alive. It was the stupidest thing she'd ever done, and she'd do it again in a heartbeat. The questioning lasted 8 hours. Natalie sat across from her company commander, battalion commander, 2 intelligence officers, and a DEA liaison, who wanted every detail about the cartel compound. She walked them through it, step by step. The company commander was furious. Sergeant Carter, do you have any idea how reckless this was? You could have been killed. You could have gotten Hayes killed. You violated direct orders to remain in position and await the rescue team. Yes, sir. You engaged 13 cartel soldiers alone in their territory in a defended compound. Yes, sir. The company commander leaned back, studying her. And you'd do it again, wouldn't you? Natalie met his eyes directly. Sir, Sergeant Hayes is my friend, best friend for 8 years, 3 deployments together. She saved my life. I've saved her. When she was captured, intelligence said the cartel would execute her within 24 hours. Command said rescue team in 48 hours. The math didn't work, so I went and got her. The math didn't work, the battalion commander repeated, respect creeping into his voice. Sergeant Carter, what you did was tactically unsound, violated multiple regulations, showed complete disregard for chain of command. Yes, sir. It was also one of the most impressive displays of individual combat capability I've seen in 26 years. He opened a folder. 13 enemy combatants killed, 0 friendly casualties, beyond Hayes's pre-existing injuries. Hostage recovered alive. Complete tactical surprise achieved, despite operating in daylight in enemy territory. He closed the folder. How did you do it? Natalie thought about it. Training, sir. And being really motivated not to fail. Finally, the company commander spoke. Sergeant Carter, you're being recommended for the Silver Star. You're also being given an Article 15 for disobeying orders. You'll be both decorated and disciplined. Does that make sense? Natalie smiled slightly. Perfect sense, sir. Worth it. Emma was in the field hospital when Natalie got free. Stitches in her scalp, fluids through an IV, but alert and smiling when Natalie walked in. Hey, crazy person, Emma said. Heard you're getting a medal and an Article 15. That's the rumor. Also heard you killed 13 guys by yourself. They were standing between me and you. That was their mistake. Emma's smile faded. Natalie, you could have died. What you did was what you would have done for me. Yeah, it is. Emma took Natalie's hand. Thank you doesn't seem like enough. You saved my life. You saved mine in Helmand. I saved yours here. That's how this works, isn't it? It is for us. 3 months later, at a ceremony at the main base, Natalie received her Silver Star. The citation read, for gallantry in action against armed enemy during counter-narcotics operations. Staff Sergeant Carter displayed extraordinary heroism when she single-handedly infiltrated a fortified enemy compound, engaged and defeated 13 enemy combatants, and successfully extracted a captured American soldier. Her actions were in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon herself, her unit, and the United States Army. Emma was there, fully recovered, back on duty. When the medal was pinned to Natalie's uniform, Emma was first to salute. "You earned that," Emma said afterward. "We both earned it. We've been earning it for 8 years. So what do we do now? We keep going. Finish this deployment. Watch each other's backs. Stay alive long enough to open that coffee shop we keep talking about. Deal. But one condition." "What's that?" "If I ever get captured again, wait for the official rescue team. My heart can't take you going full action hero twice." Natalie smiled. "No promises."